Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there, having yourselves a great start to your day. Great work week out there so far. Got you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for today, and we'll try to figure out today. And not a super active day, but we can already see our big weather maker that's going to plague the second half of our work week. Really Friday. I wouldn't say the entire second half, but Friday looks to be a big day. Thursday will be a day we need to watch, but it actually has downtrended for Thursday. Friday looks to be really that day we need to watch for sure. But you can already see it entering the Pacific Northwest. It's already creating a lot of warnings, a lot of weather for the western U.S., and we'll talk a little bit about that and show you guys all the watches, warnings, advisories, things like that out west. This will eventually dig into the western U.S., and this huge upper trough will, like I said, dig, and then a surface low will pop off and will create a lot of severe weather for a large portion of the country as we get into our Thursday and Friday, and then maybe overnight Friday night into Saturday potentially. So we'll talk about that, but of course we'll break down what's going to happen weather-wise for today. A little bit of severe weather deep in the southeast along the Gulf shoreline, where that stalled frontal boundary is just stalled. It's just chilling. So a lot of forcing with storms are still continue to fire up. And, with the boundary just kind of sitting there, you're always going to have it minimum a low-end tornado threat. So we'll talk a little bit on that. So if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. And just trying to get back in the swing of things. One thing with chasing, guys, is it is a massive routine killer. And I'm big on routine. I've talked to you guys about that around my personal life. I like working out. I try to eat good for the most part. And I like having a strict routine where I wake up really early. And when you chase, you come back exhausted, and it takes a couple days to recuperate. And I'm still recuperating. So if you notice lack of energy, I promise you it will be back. But thank y'all for understanding. If you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. And if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put it in the comments below. Awful shooting in Tennessee, Nashville, where 3 children died, 2 teachers died, and I believe that the shooter died. Praying over that situation. Certainly when you have kids, it hits a little bit harder. So praying over that situation, said a long prayer about that. But I meant to mention that last night. But just awful situation when we hear about these kind of things. But anyways, let's get rolling this morning. Water vapor loop. You see that spin up there? That is our system. It's going to dig down, upper trough. We'll dig down to the southwest, and then a surface low will pop off and create a lot of weather across a large portion of the country. See all these clouds? Well, the whiter colors you see on the water vapor loop, that's just a lot of water in the atmosphere. That's thunderstorms exploding down here, and they continue to plague this area of the southeast along the Gulf shorelines and along the southern Gulf states. So this will continue to be a story today. I think we'll finally start to get rid of this as we get into tomorrow, but you'll still have a chance for thunderstorms even tomorrow down here. So everybody else, you got a little bit more dry, stable air, but across a lot of the south, it'll still warm up because the cold front just really hasn't fully cleared the area, allowing for a cooler, drier air mass to really come into play. But you look at watches and warnings, and wow, this is large. And we'll shrink that a little bit. Excuse me, guys. And you got a lot of winter storm warnings in the higher elevations, winter weather advisories, and a little bit lower elevations. Wind alerts out here, and we're just a big system is going to swing down here. It's already beginning to enter the western U.S., and this will continue. You'll start to see more alerts, weather alerts issued a little bit further east in the western U.S. Dense fog advisories up for certain areas where there's just a lot of moisture around, especially deep down in the south where a lot of rain has fell. A lot of rain. But if you're in the central to eastern U.S., there's not a whole lot going on as far as weather alerts, if you will. So Storm Prediction Center, you got a marginal risk up down here. This is stretching all the way from the central coastline of Louisiana all the way to the coastline of northern Florida and Georgia. So you will have severe weather chances. This does include a very small section of southern Texas, Corpus Christi, Brownsville, Texas, everybody in between, you will have a chance of severe weather down here too. Tornado risk, there's a 2% risk here. So please, be aware of that. There is a risk, very small, of a quick spin up. Wind damage, a wind threat, 5% risk of damaging winds within 25 miles of any given location. Hail threat will be there too, but this isn't going to be a big day by any means, but don't let it catch you off guard. These storms, when they ride a boundary like this, they could provide a sneaky threat for sure. So please be aware of that. And if your county goes under a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, definitely be aware. Take it serious. So there is a slight risk for flash flooding also. That is at least a 15% risk of flash flood guidance being met. So, there's already a lot of rain that's fell in this area. It will continue to fall. It could get a lot of rain really fast today. You could. So let's talk about the HRRR model, how this could potentially unfold today. And just checking out my cat over there playing in the closet. It's already raining in portions of the bayou this morning. You already got a lot of rain along the immediate coastline of the Gulf of Mexico. You keep this going, storms will become a little bit more widespread, a little bit more north off the actual coastline, but this will really just ride the Gulf coastline. It really will. You'll have a chance of water spouts. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a video that gets out there on social media today, and somebody along the maybe vacationing down here in the Panhandle of Florida catches a water spout. This is kind of a setup where you see these. So a lot of rain will fall, and this will continue. Down here in Mobile, Alabama, getting into the Tallahassee area a little bit later this morning. Some of these storms might get as far north as Montgomery, Alabama, maybe even Columbus, Georgia, and they will continue, and they will have a chance to be strong to severe. Maybe a quick spin up, maybe an isolated threat of some hail, damaging winds, but any severe categories are not super high today. Be aware of this. This isn't really any different than yesterday, where you had some severe weather down here yesterday also. But these storms will continue. Might diminish somewhat as we get into later this afternoon, really in like the southern Louisiana and Mississippi area. Some more might form, but for the most part, this looks like by the time you get into the mid to late afternoon hours, it looks to diminish for areas further west in the deep south. But you go to Georgia, could be quite active. For you guys, you could have a big old complex of storms that moves in just after lunchtime in southern Georgia. So it could get very active in southern Georgia today. Basically, once you get to about Macon points north, you're probably not going to see much of anything. But once you get south, you run the risk of severe weather. And anywhere on the southern flank of these storms, you could have a rotating thunderstorm, quick spin up potential. But this could, provide a lot of rain in this area and a damaging wind threat. And just be careful down here in southern Georgia and areas of North Florida today. Jacksonville, Savannah could get, a little bit of some nasty weather a little bit later this afternoon into this evening. So definitely be aware of that. The rest of the southeast, you watch a little bit of rain potential here in North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, but not really in the form of any storms or anything like that. Rainfall, you could get, another inch or so of rain in southern Alabama. There'll be pockets of maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch of rain in Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and definitely in southern sections of Georgia. Could certainly see a lot of rain if this big, area of convection really congeals together and sweeps across the southern sections of Georgia, where areas could get widespread half-inch to maybe over an inch rainfall total. So another soggy day for this area of the country today for sure. The Northeast, not a whole lot going on. A little bit later, probably after lunchtime, some isolated rain to snow showers could be possible in the interior Northeast, especially up in Maine. These could put maybe a brief coating of snow on elevated surfaces, your car roof, something like that, but not a big deal. So don't be surprised if suddenly you see some snow flurries flying around or something like that. But like I said, you could get an area of rain in Virginia and North Carolina today that blossoms, especially later this afternoon to this evening. So you could certainly get a lot of rain, and definitely areas, I would say, of eastern Virginia. This might drift into southern sections of the Delmarva area. Definitely northeast North Carolina. Should have mentioned this a little bit more, but this will be an area of rain to watch today, but really not to watch, but it'll just be more rain that falls in this area. But the severe part of this definitely really won't be there. Just an area of rain in Virginia and North Carolina, maybe portions of southern Maryland and Delaware a little bit later today. The south central U.S., pretty quiet for the most part, besides, just some convection down here in southeast Louisiana. But some showers could get going deep down in Texas, south central to central Texas a little bit later today. Later this evening, some shower activity, but not like a massive, widespread rain by any means. It could be moderate to heavy at times. This will try to drift all the way up into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and then eastern Texas a little bit later into tomorrow morning. But outside of that, not super active by any means, guys. North central U.S., a little bit of snow blasting through the northern half of Minnesota. This will continue to try to make it into northern Wisconsin, and maybe the UP of Michigan a little bit later today. A little bit of snow shower activity. Might get a little bit of enhancement off Lake Superior. So don't be surprised you get into later this afternoon, really later this evening. A little bit of snow showers could be flying around. Then maybe another band tries to form, somewhere between eastern South Dakota, stretching across southern Minnesota into Wisconsin a little bit later today. This might drift all the way into southern sections of Wisconsin. Was it Janesville? I think you guys were picking on me a little bit. Not sure if it's Jane or Jan, but regardless, don't want to wear out the city Milwaukee too much. I had a comment that says the only city I mentioned in Wisconsin is Milwaukee. So I do apologize. I need to one day just take some time and study. It's funny, when I was a kid, I used to just read over huge road atlases for fun, and I almost had every single highest peak in every state memorized at one point as a kid, and I did it for fun, so I should know more. But anyways, definitely an area of snow showers could work their way through later overnight tonight into tomorrow morning across areas in the Midwest and the Great Lakes region. Temperatures today, as you can tell, there is a little bit of a boundary. And, the front's down here, but it hasn't really cleared enough to allow cooler air to really become widespread in the southeast. So basically from eastern Texas all the way up into southern sections of Virginia, it's going to warm into the 60s and 70s again today. Florida will be downright warm into the 80s to low 90s. Tomorrow I really think this front will push through a little bit more, clear more areas. And I think tomorrow, which kind of stinks because I chaperone on a field trip with my little girl tomorrow at the Riverbank Zoo here in Columbia, South Carolina. Tomorrow is going to be chilly, and then it'll start to warm back up again. But tomorrow, widespread 60s, maybe even 50s for the southeast. But right here in the middle, kind of the middle ground, you got 50s and 40s, but then you get up here in the northern plains and north central U.S., and it gets, bitterly cold for late March standards. Severe weather on the way for the middle of the country. Thursday, you just have two areas of a marginal threat. One near the surface low that will begin to develop, and one down here that's thermodynamic driven. And what is it, baby? Gosh. Cat done hopped on my lap and meowing at me. If I don't pet her, she's going to get angry. But one is kinematic driven, one is thermodynamic driven. So this is, your day 3, which is your Thursday. This is kind of before the system really, really gets going. So therefore, I don't think Thursday is going to be a big severe weather threat. It's day 4, which is our Friday, is when the severe weather threat could really become maximized. In fact, Friday will be the worst day. And it'll be kind of the same as Thursday. There'll be two areas to watch. One will be near the surface low, which will be up here somewhere. Okay? Another area will be further south where there's better thermodynamics, better surface moisture, higher Cape readings, things like that. You'll have a massive wind field with all of this. Okay, you're probably going to have a tornado threat in both areas. But I think with both areas, you're going to have whatever the storm mode is earlier in the day is going to develop probably into a huge damaging wind threat. So we got to watch for that. And we got to watch how these storms are early in the day. But I really think for everybody, both threat regions, because like I said, when we wake up tomorrow morning, I think there'll be an area up here and an area up here, and there'll be an area in between also. But I think all the storm modes will potentially try to develop into a nasty line of storms, maybe like a squall line kind of setup. But you look at this and how this could form, and all we can do is look at global models at this point. And I'll try and make this a little bit bigger for you guys. And really what happens here is this surface low right here begins to pop off the Rockies like they normally do when you have a big kind of troublesome severe weather threat. We'll stop it here for Thursday evening. You see this rain down here, that could be in the form of storms. Remember, this isn't a mesoscale model. We're not going to see the true evolution of these storms. But as we get into Friday morning, you already got convection. There's already going to be a lot of morning convection in Iowa. Probably some cooler temperatures due to that. It even mentions that in the Storm Prediction Center. And then you get into Friday afternoon, and then this is trying to show a 979 millibar low pressure off the GFS. There'll be heavy snow on the cold side of this and severe weather just south, southeast, maybe east of the low pressure, while you'll have just enough surface moisture that builds all the way up into the low pressure, and you'll have a triple point, basically where all ingredients kind of meet just at the surface low. And then down here, you'll have enough dynamics, certainly enough kinematics. You'll have plenty of thermodynamics. And guys, question me to death if you're wondering when I say kinematics, thermodynamics. I try to explain it every time I say it. But when you're closer to the low pressure, you always have better kinematics, which is the wind energy aloft to put a spin in the atmosphere for a tornado threat. But a lot of times when you're really close to that low pressure, you're lacking thermodynamics, which is the surface moisture, the higher surface heating temperatures where you're standing. You're lacking CAPE, which is the storm fuel. So wherever this overlaps each other the best, that's normally where your highest severe weather threat is. So hope that makes sense. But you'll have a severe weather threat down here and one right here, and you'll have it in the middle also. But I am so sorry. I keep having to clear my throat. I've had a lot of morning congestion lately. Not sick, just I think it's just allergies. But surface low really is cranking as it moves into southern Minnesota, and I think you'll have some squall line that develops late Friday night and could potentially sweep across the entire Midwest and Ohio Valley. We'll see how this happens here. But a powerful storm system, guys. So we'll continue to try to figure this out for you folks. You have a great day. I'll be with you later this evening. I got soccer practice tonight. So it'll be later at a later video. But I do have the plans to definitely drop a video with severe weather on the way. God bless all y'all. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.